The waitress slammed the menu on the table. "You ordering or what? We got real customers waiting." Denise felt her heart stop. Her fingers touched the crumpled $20 bill in her pocket. Her twin daughters looked up at her with hungry eyes, waiting for the Christmas dinner she had promised them. Then the front door crashed open so hard the windows shook. 5 massive men in black leather vests walked in. The room went dead silent. The words on their backs made a woman at the next table grab her purse and pull her children close. Hell's Angels. The biggest one, a man with a scar running down his face and arms covered in tattoos, looked directly at Denise and her 2 little girls. He started walking toward them, and what happened next would change their lives forever. Before I continue, subscribe to this channel and follow this story to the very end. Comment below which city and country you are watching from, so I can see how far this story has traveled around the world. Denise Williams had not eaten in 3 days. She did not tell her daughters this. She smiled at them as they walked through the frozen streets of Detroit, pretending everything was fine, pretending Mama was okay, pretending this Christmas would be different from all the others. Maya tugged at her hand. "Mama, I'm so hungry. My tummy hurts." "I know, baby. We're almost there." Mia, the quieter twin, said nothing. She just looked up at her mother with those big brown eyes that saw too much, understood too much, for a 7-year-old child. $20. That was all Denise had left in the world. She had paid the electric bill yesterday, so her babies would not freeze. She had skipped the phone bill so she could buy bread last week. She had sold her wedding ring 2 months ago when Darren left, and never came back. $20 between her children and hunger on Christmas Eve. She had promised them a real dinner. Not ramen noodles, not stale bread from the food bank. A real Christmas dinner, like the ones she remembered from her own childhood, before her mama got sick, before everything fell apart. The Twin Pines Diner glowed at the corner of Jefferson Street. Warm light spilled through foggy windows. Families sat inside eating together, laughing together, being together. Maya pressed her nose against the glass. "Mama, look, they got turkey. Can we have turkey?" Denise's stomach cramped painfully. When was the last time she had eaten turkey? She could not remember. "Let's go inside and see baby." The moment she pushed open the door, she felt it. The shift in the air, the weight of eyes turning toward her. A white woman in a fur coat looked up from her steak. Her eyes traveled slowly down Denise's worn coat, the holes she had tried to patch with black thread, her daughter's faded purple jackets from the church donation box. The woman leaned toward her husband. "Harold, look what just walked in." Harold glanced over, then turned back to his plate. "Just ignore them, Margaret." Denise heard every word. She always heard. She had been hearing whispers like these her whole life. She lifted her chin and walked toward a booth in the back corner. The farthest spot from everyone else, the spot where no one would have to look at her and her children. But before she could reach it, a waitress stepped into her path. "Help you," the woman's name tag said Linda. Her voice said something else entirely. "We'd like a table, please." Linda looked at the twins, then back at Denise. "You got money?" Denise felt heat rise to her cheeks. "Yes, ma'am, I have money. Because we had some people last week try to walk out without paying. Manager said we gotta ask now." "I understand. I have money." Linda stared at her for a long moment, then stepped aside. "Booth in the back is open." Denise guided her daughters to the booth. Her hands were shaking. She gripped them together under the table so the girls would not see. "Mama, why was that lady mean to us?" Maya asked. "She wasn't mean, baby. She's just doing her job." She looked at us like we did something bad. "We didn't do anything bad. Don't you worry about that. Linda dropped 3 menus on the table without a word and walked away. Denise opened the menu. Her eyes went straight to the prices. Turkey dinner, $18.99. Ham plate, $16.99. Chicken and waffles, $14.99. Kids' meals, $8.99 each. Her throat tightened. 2 kids' meals would be almost $18. With tax, it would be nearly $20. She would have nothing left. And she still would not be able to eat. She flipped to the back of the menu. Soup of the day, $4.99. Bread basket, $2.99. $8. She could get soup and bread for the girls to share. A milk to split between them. $12 total. She would have $8 left for tomorrow. Tomorrow. What would she do tomorrow? How would she feed them when the $8 was gone? Stop! She could not think about that now. She had to get through tonight first. Mama, can I get the chicken fingers? Maya pointed at the picture. They look so good. Me too, Mia added quietly. And mac and cheese. Denise forced herself to smile. Let me see what they have, babies. You know Mama's got to check the specials. She already knew there were no specials that would help her. There never were. In the back corner of the diner, 6 men sat around a table covered with empty beer bottles. They wore black leather vests over flannel shirts. Tattoos crawled up their necks and covered their hands. Their beards were long and rough. The patches on their backs read, Hell's Angels MC Detroit. Most people in the diner pretended they did not exist. The staff served them fast and avoided eye contact. Other customers hunched their shoulders and kept their voices low, but one of the bikers was not paying attention to his brothers or his beer. Marcus Thompson. Bones, they called him. 45 years old. Built like a man who had fought his way through life and won. A scar ran down his left cheek from a knife fight in 1998. His knuckles were permanently swollen from all the times he had used them. He was watching the black woman and her 2 little girls. He saw how her eyes moved over the menu prices. He noticed how her finger traced down to the cheapest items. He observed how she opened her coat pocket again and again, touching something inside. He knew what she was doing. He knew because his own mother had done the exact same thing 36 years ago in a diner just like this one. Bones, you hear me? Marcus turned. Ricky Martinez, his road captain, was staring at him. What? I said we're rolling out at 9. Church meeting at the clubhouse. You listening? Yeah, 9. Got it. He turned back to watch the woman. Linda had returned to take their order. The woman was speaking quietly, her shoulders hunched, her voice barely above a whisper. We'll have 1 soup of the day, and 1 bread basket, please, and 1 small milk to share. Marcus watched Linda's pen stop moving. That's all. For all 3 of you, that's all. What about you? What do you want? Nothing for me. I already ate. The words hit Marcus like a fist to the chest. I already ate. His mother's voice echoed in his head across 36 years and a lifetime of pain. I already ate, baby. This is all for you. The little girl in the purple jacket tugged her mother's sleeve. Mama, you didn't eat. You didn't eat all day. I was with you. The mother's face crumpled for just a second before she rebuilt her smile. Hush now, Mia. Mama's fine. Mama ate at work. No, you didn't. You gave me your crackers. You said you weren't hungry, but I heard your tummy making noises. Mantum musis musonishins. Mia, that's enough. The sharpness in her voice made both girls go quiet. The mother immediately looked guilty. I'm sorry, babies. Mama's just tired. I'm sorry. Linda stood there, pen hovering over her notepad, something flickering in her eyes. Then she turned and walked toward the kitchen without another word. Marcus could not look away. The soup arrived. 1 bowl, 1 basket with 4 small pieces of bread, 1 glass of milk. He watched the mother divide everything with surgical precision. 2/3 of the soup pushed toward her daughters. 3 pieces of bread for them, 1 for her that she immediately broke in half and gave away. Eat slow, babies. Enjoy it. The girls ate. They tried to be polite, tried to be good, but their hunger was too strong. Small hands grabbed bread. Spoons moved fast. The mother watched them with eyes that glistened. She did not take a single bite. At the table by the window, Margaret in the fur coat was whispering to her husband again. Can you believe she brought those children in here dressed like that on Christmas Eve? Some people have no shame, Harold agreed. You know, she's probably on welfare, food stamps, all of our tax dollars going to people who won't work. Probably has 3 different baby daddies, too. They laughed together, loud enough for nearby tables to hear. Denise heard. Her daughters heard. The whole restaurant heard. Maya looked up at her mother. Mama, why are they saying those things about us? Denise could not answer. Her throat had closed up. Her eyes were burning. She had worked 16 hours yesterday. She had scrubbed toilets and mopped floors and cleaned up other people's messes until her hands cracked and bled. She had taken 2 buses in the freezing cold to get to her second job because she could not afford a car. She had not bought herself new clothes in 2 years, so her daughters could have shoes that fit. And these people looked at her and saw nothing, nothing but a stereotype, nothing but a burden. The tears came before she could stop them. She lowered her head so her girls would not see her cry. Mama. Mia's small hand touched her arm. Mama, are you okay? I'm fine, baby. Just got something in my eye. She wiped her face quickly and looked up. She tried to smile. And then Margaret stood up from her table and walked over. Denise felt her whole body tense. Margaret stopped right next to their booth, close enough that Denise could smell her expensive perfume, could see the diamonds glittering in her ears. You know, Margaret said loudly, making sure everyone could hear, there are shelters that serve free meals on Christmas. You might want to try one of those. This restaurant is for paying customers. Denise stared at her. Words stuck in her throat. I have money, she finally managed. I'm a paying customer. Margaret laughed. Really? Then why did you order 1 bowl of soup for 3 people? That's none of your business. It is when I have to sit here and watch your hungry children stare at my food. It makes me uncomfortable. It's ruining my Christmas dinner. Then don't look at us. Excuse me. Denise stood up. She was shorter than Margaret, thinner, poorer in every way that could be measured. But something in her eyes made the other woman take a step back. I said don't look at us. We're not here for your entertainment. We're not here for you to judge. We're here because it's Christmas Eve and my daughters deserve 1 nice meal. I work 2 jobs. I work harder than you've ever worked in your life, and I don't owe you any explanations. The diner had gone silent. Everyone was watching. Margaret's face turned red. How dare you speak to me that way? How dare you speak to me the way you did? I'm going to call the manager. Call whoever you want. I haven't done anything wrong. Margaret spun around and marched toward the counter, her heels clicking angrily on the floor. Denise sat back down. Her hands were shaking violently. Her heart was pounding so hard she thought it might explode. What had she done? What if they threw her out? What if they called the police? What would happen to her daughters? Maya grabbed her hand. Mama, you were so brave. Mia nodded. You told that mean lady the truth. Denise pulled both girls close and hugged them tight. She could not speak. She was too afraid of what would come next. At the back of the diner, Marcus Thompson had seen everything. He had watched the rich woman attack a mother trying to feed her children. He had watched Denise stand up for herself despite her fear. He had watched her protect her daughters with nothing but words and dignity. Something cracked open inside his chest. He thought about his own mother, Gloria Thompson, the strongest woman he had ever known. She had worked 3 jobs to keep him fed. She had worn the same dress for 5 years so he could have school clothes. She had given him every bite of food and pretended she was not starving. And when she finally collapsed, when her body gave out from years of sacrifice, he had been too young to save her. She died 3 days after Christmas. He was 11 years old. He held her hand in the hospital as she took her last breath. She was skin and bones worn down to nothing, but she smiled at him even then. "You eat, baby. You eat every day. Promise, Mama." He promised. And for the next 34 years, every time he saw a mother sacrifice for her children, he thought about the promise he made. Marcus stood up. The sound of his chair scraping against the floor cut through the diner like a gunshot. 6 feet 4 inches of muscle and leather and tattoos rose from the corner booth. His brothers looked up. "Bones, where you going?" He did not answer. He walked toward the counter. Each footstep echoed through the silent room. People shrank back as he passed. A mother pulled her child closer. An old man gripped his coffee cup with white knuckles. Margaret was at the counter talking to Linda in furious whispers. "I want them thrown out, right now. This is ridiculous." "Ma'am, they haven't done anything. They're disturbing other customers. They're making a scene. Do your job and get rid of them." Marcus stopped behind Margaret. "Problem here." Margaret spun around and almost screamed. She stumbled backward, nearly falling, catching herself on the counter. Marcus towered over her. His shadow swallowed her whole. "Who are you? What do you want?" Marcus did not look at her. He looked at Linda. "That family in the corner booth. Whatever they ordered, it's on me." Linda blinked. "Sir, you heard me? But don't give them what they ordered. I want you to bring them the Christmas dinner. Full spread. Turkey, ham, everything on the menu. For all 3 of them. Give them enough to take home for tomorrow, too." Margaret's mouth fell open. "You can't be serious." Marcus slowly turned his head to look at her. Just a look. Nothing more. But Margaret went pale and took another step back. "I wasn't talking to you," he said quietly. He reached into his vest and pulled out his wallet. He placed $300 on the counter. "That should cover the food and the tip. If it's more, let me know." Linda stared at the money. Her hands were shaking. "Yes, sir. Right away, sir." She rushed toward the kitchen. Margaret opened her mouth to say something. Marcus looked at her again. She closed her mouth and walked quickly back to her table, where Harold was already throwing cash down and grabbing his coat. Marcus turned and walked toward Denise's booth. Every eye in the diner followed him. The massive biker covered in tattoos, Hell's Angels patches on his vest, walking toward the poor black woman and her 2 little girls. Denise saw him coming. Her blood went cold. She had seen men like him on the news. She had heard stories. She grabbed her daughters and pulled them close. "Mama, who is that man?" Mia whispered. "Don't say anything, baby. Let Mama handle this." Marcus stopped at their table. Up close, he was terrifying. His arms were as big as her legs. His hands could crush her skull without effort. The scar on his face made him look like he had killed before and would kill again. Denise's voice came out stronger than she felt. "Please, we don't want trouble. We're just trying to have dinner. Marcus looked at her for a long moment. Then he did something that made everyone in the diner gasp. He knelt down. Slowly, carefully, this giant of a man lowered himself until his eyes were level with the children. "Hey there," he said softly. His voice was like gravel, but gentle. "My name's Marcus. What's yours?" Maya pressed herself against her mother. Mia answered. "I'm Mia. That's my sister Maya. Are you gonna hurt us?" "No, baby girl. I would never hurt you. I just came to tell you something." "What? Your mama ordered you soup and bread for Christmas dinner. But I think you deserve better than that. So I'm buying you the real Christmas dinner. Turkey and ham and everything." Mia's eyes went wide. "Everything. Everything." Maya looked up at her mother. "Mama, is he telling the truth?" Denise could not speak. She was staring at Marcus like he had grown a second head. "Sir, I can't accept this. I don't even know you." Marcus stood up slowly. "You don't need to know me, and you can accept it because it's already paid for. Food's coming." "But why would you do this?" Marcus was quiet for a moment. In the silence, 36 years of pain pressed against his chest. "Because a long time ago my mama sat in a booth just like this one. She had nothing. She was hungry. She ordered one bowl of soup and gave it all to me. She told me she already ate." Denise's hand flew to her mouth. "She lied," Marcus continued. "She lied because she loved me. She gave me everything and kept nothing for herself. She did that for years, and eventually it killed her." His voice cracked. He clenched his jaw and kept going. "She died 3 days after Christmas. I was 11 years old. I held her hand while she took her last breath. She smiled at me even at the end. She told me to eat every day. She made me promise." Tears were streaming down his face now. This massive, terrifying man stood in the middle of a diner crying like a child. "When I heard you tell that waitress you already ate, I heard my mama's voice. I saw her face. And I swore a long time ago that if I ever saw another mother lying about being hungry so her children could eat, I wouldn't walk away. I couldn't." Denise was sobbing. She tried to speak, but only broken sounds came out. "Please," Marcus said. "Let me do this. Not for you, for my mama. Let me keep the promise I made her." Linda arrived at the table. Her arms were loaded with plates. Turkey golden and steaming, ham glazed with honey, mashed potatoes swimming in gravy, corn green beans, fresh biscuits, and 3 massive slices of pecan pie. Maya's eyes looked like they might fall out of her head. Mama, look at all the food." Mia grabbed her mother's arm. "Is this real? Is this really for us?" Denise looked at the feast in front of her. More food than she had seen in months, enough to feed her daughters for days. She looked up at Marcus. "I don't know what to say." "Don't say anything. Just eat. Let your girls see their mama eat. That's all I want." He turned to walk away. "Wait." Marcus stopped. Mia had slipped out of the booth. She walked up to him, this tiny 7-year-old girl, standing in front of a giant, and reached into her pocket. She pulled out a candy cane. Cheap plastic wrapper. Faded stripes. Something from a school party or a church giveaway. "This is for you," she said. "It's all I got. But I want you to have it, for Christmas." Marcus stared at the candy cane. His throat closed up. His eyes burned. "Thank you," he whispered. "This is the best gift anyone's given me in a very long time." Mia smiled. Then she wrapped her small arms around his leg and hugged him. Marcus froze. When was the last time someone had hugged him? When was the last time someone had shown him kindness without wanting something in return? He did not know. Slowly, carefully, he put his massive hand on top of her head. "You're a good girl, Mia. You take care of your mama, okay? I will. She let go and went back to the booth. Denise stood up. She walked to Marcus and looked up at his face. I'm Denise. Denise Williams, and I will never forget what you did for us tonight. Never. You don't need to remember me. Just remember to eat, every day. Your girls need you. I will. She paused. Can I hug you? Marcus blinked. What? Can I hug you? I want to hug you. He stood there uncertain, this man who had beaten other men half to death, who had spent time in prison, who had done things he would never speak of. Yeah, he said finally. You can hug me. Denise wrapped her arms around him. Her head barely reached his chest. She held on tight, and she cried against his leather vest, and she thanked God for sending her an angel dressed like a devil. Marcus put his arms around her, gently, like she was made of glass. They stood there for a long moment, while the diner watched in silence. Finally, Denise pulled back. She wiped her eyes and laughed. I got your vest all wet. It's been through worse. She laughed again, a real laugh, the first one in months. Go eat your dinner, Marcus said. It's getting cold. She nodded and went back to the booth. Marcus walked back to his table. His brothers stared at him with expressions he had never seen before. What the hell was that? Chains asked. Nothing, just settling a debt. What debt? You don't even know that woman. Marcus picked up his beer and drained it. I know her better than you think. At the booth by the window, Denise and her daughters were eating. Really eating. Maya stuffed turkey into her mouth until her cheeks puffed out like a chipmunk. Mia carefully cut her ham into perfect squares and savored each bite. They fought over the last biscuit until Denise broke it in half for them. And Denise ate. For the first time in 3 days, she put food in her own mouth. Turkey that melted on her tongue. Gravy that tasted like everything good in the world. Mashed potatoes that filled the hollow ache in her stomach. She cried while she ate. Tears of relief. Tears of gratitude. Tears for all the meals she had skipped, so her daughters could have enough. Mama, this is the best Christmas ever, Maya said. The best ever, Mia agreed. Denise pulled them both close. Yes, babies, yes it is. An hour later, the diner had emptied out. Linda brought boxes so Denise could pack the leftovers. There was enough food for 3 more meals. Thank you, Denise said to her. Linda shook her head. I should be thanking you. What that woman said to you earlier that was wrong. I should have stopped her. I'm sorry I didn't. It's okay. No, it's not. I've been working here 30 years. I've seen a lot of people come through that door. Rich people, poor people, all kinds. And I've never seen anyone with more dignity than you showed tonight. Standing up for yourself like that. Taking care of your babies. You're a good mother. Denise's eyes filled with tears again. That man who helped you, Linda continued. I've seen him in here before. Never thought he was the type to do something like that. Goes to show you can't judge people by how they look. No, you can't. Denise gathered her daughters and the boxes of food. She headed toward the door. Marcus and his brothers were putting on their coats, preparing to leave. Denise stopped in front of him. I still don't know how to thank you. You already did. You hugged me. That was enough. Where are you going now? Clubhouse. Got some business to take care of. On Christmas Eve? Marcus shrugged. It's the life. Denise reached into her pocket. Her fingers touched the $20 bill that was still there. The money she had come in with. The money she had not needed to spend. She pulled it out and held it toward Marcus. I want you to have this. He stared at it. What? It's not much. It's nothing compared to what you gave us. But I want you to have it. so you know how much tonight meant to me. I can't take your money. Please, please take it. I need you to take it. Marcus looked at the crumpled 20 in her hand. He thought about his mother working 3 jobs, giving everything she had. Okay, he said. I'll take it, but not for me. I'll give it to someone who needs it. Promise. I promise. He took the bill and put it in his pocket. Denise smiled at him one last time. Then she pushed open the door and walked out into the cold night with her daughters. The snow was falling harder now. The streets were empty. Everyone was inside, warm and safe with their families. Denise held her daughters' hands and started walking home. They made it 4 blocks. Then she heard the footsteps. Fast. Multiple people. Coming from behind. Denise's heart slammed against her ribs. She walked faster. Her daughters stumbled, trying to keep up. Mama, what's wrong? Nothing, baby. Just walk fast. The footsteps got closer. Then 3 men stepped out of an alley ahead of her, blocking the sidewalk. Denise spun around. 2 more behind her. 5 men total. Young, hard-eyed, hungry. Where are you going so fast, Mama? The leader was barely 20, with a gold tooth and a scar on his neck. It's Christmas. We just want to say hello. Please, I have children. Let us go. That's a lot of food you got there. Smells good. You gonna share with us? Please. And that coat looks warm. My girl could use a coat like that. Maya started crying. Mia pressed against her mother's side. Take whatever you want. Just don't hurt my children. The leader smiled. Now we're talking. Hand over the food. The coat, whatever money you got. Denise's hands shook as she held out the containers. The leader grabbed them and passed them to one of his boys. Now the coat! She started to take it off, and then a voice came out of the darkness. Put your hands down. Everyone froze. Marcus stepped out of the shadows. He was alone. No brothers. No backup. Just 6 feet 4 inches of rage. The leader laughed nervously. Old man, you better walk away. This ain't your business. Marcus kept walking forward. Slowly. Deliberately. I said this ain't your business. You made it my business when you touched what's mine. What's yours? You don't even know this lady. Marcus stopped 10 feet away from the group. His hands hung loose at his sides. His eyes were empty. You've got 3 seconds to run. After that, I stop being nice. The leader pulled a knife from his pocket. You crazy. There's 5 of us. 1 of you. 1. I'll cut you open, old man. 2. The leader lunged. Marcus moved like water. He caught the leader's knife hand twisted, and the blade clattered to the ground. Before anyone could react, he drove his elbow into the leader's face. Blood exploded from his nose. The second man charged. Marcus grabbed him by the throat and threw him into the third. They went down in a tangle of limbs. The fourth man tried to run. Marcus caught him by the collar, spun him around, and hit him so hard he was unconscious before he hit the ground. The fifth man fell to his knees. Please, please, man. I'm sorry. Marcus stood over him. His chest was heaving. His knuckles were split and bleeding. You ever touch another woman in this neighborhood, I will find you. I will find your family. And what happens next will make tonight look like a birthday party. We clear? Yes, yes, we're clear. Get your friends and get out of my sight. The man scrambled to grab his unconscious companions. Within 30 seconds, all 5 had disappeared into the darkness, dragging each other down the street. Silence fell. Denise stood frozen, her arms wrapped around her daughters. Her whole body was shaking. Marcus turned to face her. In an instant, the violence drained from his face. He became gentle again. Human again. You okay? She could not speak. She could only stare at him. He walked over slowly, hands visible, non-threatening. They're gone. They won't come back. You're safe. How did you... Why did you... I was following you, making sure you got home okay. Good thing I did. Maya looked up at him with huge eyes. You saved us. I just did what needed doing. Mia grabbed his hand. Thank you, Mr. Marcus. Thank you. He knelt down to her level. You remember what I said earlier about taking care of your mama? Yes. That goes both ways now. Your mama takes care of you, and I take care of all three of you. Understand? You're gonna protect us, for as long as you need me. He stood up and looked at Denise. Where do you live? Eastwood Apartments, Building C. He nodded. My truck's around the corner. I'm driving you home. You don't have to. I know I don't have to. I want to. 20 minutes later, they were in a warm SUV, heading through the snowy streets. The twins had fallen asleep in the back seat, exhausted from the night's events. Denise sat in silence, watching the Christmas lights pass by outside. Thank you, she said finally, for everything. You don't need to keep thanking me. Yes, I do. You've saved us twice tonight. The diner and the street. No one's ever done anything like that for me. Ever. Then the people in your life weren't paying attention. She was quiet for a moment. My husband left us 4 months ago. Just walked out one day and never came back. Emptied our bank account. Took the car. Left me with nothing. I'm sorry. I've been working 2 jobs ever since. Cleaning houses during the day, offices at night. Trying to keep a roof over our heads. Trying to keep my girls fed. That's why you weren't eating. Every dollar goes to them. Every single dollar. I skip meals so they don't have to. Marcus's hands tightened on the steering wheel. My mama did the same thing. For years. She thought I didn't notice, but I noticed. I just didn't understand until it was too late. Is that why you helped us because of your mama? Partly, but also because I looked at you and I saw someone fighting. Someone who refused to give up. Someone who kept going no matter what. That's rare. That deserves respect. They pulled up to the apartment building. It was exactly what Marcus expected. Crumbling, brick-broken windows, graffiti everywhere. You got heat in there? He asked. Denise hesitated. The heater's been broken for 2 weeks. Landlord keeps saying he'll fix it. Marcus closed his eyes for a moment. When he opened them, they were hard. He pulled out his phone and made a call. Wire. I need space heaters. 3 of them. Good ones. And extension cords. Yeah, tonight. I'll text you the address. He hung up. You didn't have to do that. Your babies are sleeping in a cold apartment on Christmas Eve. Yeah, I did. He helped her carry the sleeping twins up 3 flights of stairs. The apartment was small and cold, but spotlessly clean. You keep a good home, he said. It's all I have. I try to make it nice for them. He set Maya down on the couch and covered her with a blanket. Denise did the same with Mia. They stood there in the dim living room, looking at the sleeping children. They're beautiful, Marcus said. They're everything to me. 45 minutes later, Wire arrived with 3 brand new space heaters. Marcus set them up himself, one in the living room, one in the girls' bedroom, one in Denise's room. Warm air began to fill the apartment for the first time in weeks. Denise stood in the middle of her living room, tears streaming down her face. I can't believe this is happening. I can't believe any of this is real. Marcus walked to the door. Believe it. This is real. You're not alone anymore. Will I see you again? He turned back to look at her. This woman who had endured so much, who had fought so hard, who refused to break no matter what life threw at her. Yeah, he said. You'll see me again. He reached into his pocket and pulled out the card he had tried to give her earlier. I run a program. My club does. We help families get back on their feet. Not charity, opportunities. Just resources connections. When you're ready, call this number. She took the card. Her hand touched his. Marcus? Yeah. Merry Christmas. He smiled. A real smile. The first one in longer than he could remember. Merry Christmas, Denise. He walked out into the cold hallway, down the stairs, out into the snowy night. Inside the apartment, Denise locked the door and leaned against it. Her daughters were safe and warm. Her stomach was full. 3 space heaters hummed around her. She looked at the card in her hand. Tomorrow she would call. Tonight she would sleep. And for the first time in 4 months, she would sleep without fear. Christmas had finally come for Denise Williams and her twin daughters. And it had come wearing a leather vest, riding a motorcycle with scars on his face and tears in his eyes. An angel in the last disguise she ever expected. The next morning came too fast. Denise opened her eyes and felt something she had not felt in months. Warmth. Real warmth. The space heaters hummed softly around her, filling the apartment with heat that wrapped around her like a blanket. For a moment she thought she was dreaming. Then she heard her daughters laughing in the next room, and everything from last night came flooding back. The diner. The food. Marcus. The attack. The rescue. She sat up slowly. Her body ached from months of exhaustion, but her stomach was full. When was the last time she had woken up without hunger clawing at her insides? She could not remember. Mama, you're awake. Maya burst through the bedroom door and jumped onto the bed. Mia followed right behind her, climbing up and wrapping her arms around her mother's neck. Merry Christmas, Mama. Denise pulled them both close and held them tight. Tears burned in her eyes. Merry Christmas, babies. Mama, can we eat the leftover turkey for breakfast? Yeah, Mama, please. It was so good. Denise laughed, a real laugh. The sound surprised her. Yes, babies, we can eat turkey for breakfast. They scrambled off the bed and ran toward the kitchen. Denise followed them slowly, still trying to believe that last night had really happened. The containers of food sat on the counter. Turkey, ham, mashed potatoes, enough for today, and maybe tomorrow too. She opened the refrigerator and stared at the food inside. This was more than she had seen in her kitchen in 4 months. Thank you, Marcus, she whispered to no one. Thank you. While her daughters ate, Denise pulled out the card Marcus had given her. She turned it over in her hands, studying the handwritten phone number. Should she call? Would he even remember her? Maybe last night was just a one-time thing. Maybe he helped people all the time and forgot about them the next day. But he had followed her. He had protected her. He had bought her space heaters at midnight on Christmas Eve. That was not something you did for a stranger you planned to forget. She picked up her phone. Her finger hovered over the numbers. Then Maya called out from the kitchen. Mamma Mia's hogging all the turkey. I am not. You already had 3 pieces, because you had 4. Denise smiled and put the phone down. She would call later. Right now her daughters needed her. 3 hours passed. The twins were playing in their room with the few toys they had. Denise sat alone at the kitchen table, the card still in her hand. She had been staring at it for 20 minutes. Just call. What's the worst that could happen? She picked up her phone again. This time she dialed. It rang once, twice, 3 times. Hello? The voice was deep, familiar. Her heart jumped. Marcus, this is Denise from last night, the diner. Silence on the other end. Oh God. He doesn't remember. He helped so many people he doesn't even remember me. Denise, his voice softened. I was hoping you'd call. How are the girls? Relief flooded through her. They're good. They're playing. They ate turkey for breakfast. Good. That's good. A pause. How are you? She stopped. How was she? She didn't even know anymore. I'm okay. I think. You think? I don't know. Last night was a lot. I'm still trying to process everything. That's fair. You went through hell. You saved us. Twice. I did what anyone would do. No, you did what no one else would do. There's a difference. Marcus was quiet for a moment. I meant what I said last night, Denise. About the program. We help families get back on their feet. Jobs, resources, connections. It's not charity. It's opportunity. I want to work. I've always worked. I just need a chance. Then come by the community center tomorrow. I'll text you the address. We'll figure something out. Really, really. Denise's throat tightened. Why are you doing this? Why do you keep helping us? I already told you. Because of my mama. Because I made a promise. But there must be hundreds of people who need help. Why us? Marcus was silent for so long that Denise thought he had hung up. Then he spoke. Because when I looked at you in that diner, I saw my mother's eyes. I saw her strength, her fear, her love. I saw everything she tried to hide from me when I was a kid. His voice dropped. I couldn't save her, Denise. I was 11 years old and I watched her die, and I couldn't do a damn thing about it. But I can help you. I can make sure your girls don't lose their mama the way I lost mine. Denise was crying now, silent tears streaming down her face. I'll be there tomorrow, she whispered. I promise. I know you will. He hung up. Denise sat there holding the phone, tears dripping onto the kitchen table. For the first time in 4 months, she felt something she had forgotten existed. Hope. The next day, Denise stood outside the Detroit Community Action Center. It was a plain brick building on the corner of Michigan Avenue. Nothing fancy. Nothing that screamed hope or salvation. Just a building with a faded sign and bars on the windows. But inside her future was waiting. She pushed through the door. The first thing she saw was Marcus. He stood at the front desk talking to an older black woman with gray hair and kind eyes. When he saw Denise, he nodded. You made it. I said I would. A lot of people say things they don't mean. I'm not a lot of people. Marcus almost smiled. No, you're not. He turned to the woman beside him. Martha, this is Denise, the one I told you about. Martha looked Denise up and down, not judging, assessing. 2 kids, twin girls, 7 years old. Working now, 2 jobs, cleaning houses during the day, office buildings at night. How much you making? Denise hesitated. The number was embarrassing, but she had promised herself she would be honest. About $1,200 a month, before taxes. Martha whistled low. And you're supporting 3 people on that? Yes, ma'am. Rent, $850. That leaves you $350 for everything else. Food, clothes, transportation, utilities. Yes, ma'am. Martha shook her head slowly. Girl, how are you still standing? I don't know, I just keep moving. Martha looked at Marcus. Something passed between them. Sit down, Denise. We need to talk. For the next hour, Denise told them everything. She told them about Darren leaving, about the empty bank account, about selling her wedding ring for grocery money, about skipping meals so her daughters could eat, about the broken heater and the cold nights, about the fear that lived in her chest every single day. She told them about the diner, about Margaret's cruelty, about standing up for herself for the first time in years. She told them about the attack, about the 5 men in the dark, about Marcus appearing like a ghost and saving her life. When she finished, Martha was crying. "Lord have mercy," the older woman whispered. "Lord have mercy on you, child." Marcus stood by the window, his back turned, his shoulders rigid. "Here's what we're going to do," Martha said, wiping her eyes. "First, we're getting you into our job training program. Medical billing. Good money, steady hours, benefits. The course is free. Takes about 6 weeks. I can't afford to stop working for 6 weeks. The classes are at night, 3 times a week. You keep your day job. We provide childcare during the sessions. Childcare. We have volunteers, good people. Your girls will be safe." Denise's hands were shaking. "What else?" "Housing assistance. Your apartment is too expensive for what you're making. We have partnerships with landlords across the city. Better places, safer neighborhoods, subsidized rent." "I can't move right now. I don't have money for a deposit." "We cover the deposit. You pay us back when you're on your feet. No interest, no deadline." Denise stared at her. "Why would you do that?" Martha reached across the table and took Denise's hands in hers. "Because 40 years ago I was you. Single mama, 2 kids, working myself to death. Nobody helped me. Nobody saw me. I swore that if I ever got out I would reach back and pull others up." She squeezed Denise's hands. "You're not alone anymore, baby. You hear me? You are not alone." Denise broke down. All the fear, all the exhaustion, all the pain she had been carrying for 4 months came pouring out. She sobbed like a child, her whole body shaking, unable to stop. Martha came around the table and held her. Marcus stood by the window, his jaw tight, his eyes wet. "Let it out," Martha whispered. "Let it all out. You've been strong for too long. Let someone else be strong for you." Denise cried until she had nothing left. When she finally stopped, Martha handed her a tissue and smiled. "Feel better?" "I feel empty." "Good. Now we can fill you back up with something better." 2 weeks passed. Denise started the medical billing course. 3 nights a week she sat in a classroom with 15 other women learning about insurance codes and patient records and billing software. It was hard. Her brain felt rusty. She hadn't been in school in over a decade, but she refused to quit. Every night after class, she went home and studied until midnight. She made flashcards. She took practice tests. She asked questions until the instructor probably wanted to strangle her. The twins noticed the change in their mother. "Mama, you're smiling more," Maya said one night. "Am I?" "Yeah, you used to look sad all the time. Now you look different." Denise pulled her daughter close. "I'm working on something, baby. Something that's going to change our lives." "What is it?" "A new job, a better job. One that pays enough so we don't have to worry anymore. No more being hungry." The question hit Denise like a punch to the gut. No baby, no more being hungry, ever. Marcus checked on them every few days. Sometimes he called. Sometimes he stopped by with groceries. Sometimes he just sat in his truck outside their building for an hour, making sure no one bothered them. Denise noticed. "You don't have to watch over us," she told him one night. "We're okay now." "I know you're okay. I'd just like to make sure. Don't you have better things to do, club business or whatever?" Marcus was quiet for a moment. "The club is part of my life. But it's not all of my life. Not anymore." "What changed?" "You." Denise's heart skipped. "What do you mean?" "I mean that helping you reminded me why I started the program in the first place. I'd been going through the motions for years, helping people because it was what I was supposed to do. But when I saw you in that diner, something woke up inside me, something I thought was dead." What? Purpose. Real purpose. Not just surviving day to day. Actually making a difference. Denise didn't know what to say. I'm not good with words, Marcus continued. I'm better with actions. But I want you to know that you matter to me, Denise. You and your girls. You're not just another family in the program. You're special. Marcus, you don't have to say anything. I just needed you to know. He turned and walked back to his truck. Denise watched him go, her heart pounding in her chest. What was happening to her? What was this feeling? She couldn't think about that now. She had too much to focus on. The course. Her daughters. The new apartment Martha was helping her find. Romance was a luxury she couldn't afford. But as she watched Marcus's truck disappear down the street, she wondered if maybe someday things could be different. 4 weeks into the course, disaster struck. Denise came home from class to find her daughters crying, and Mrs. Patterson, her elderly neighbor, looking terrified. What happened? What's wrong? Mama! Maya ran into her arms. A man came, a scary man. Denise's blood went cold. What man? What are you talking about? Mrs. Patterson stepped forward. Someone knocked on your door about an hour ago. When I looked through my peephole, I saw a man in a hoodie. He was trying your doorknob. When he saw me watching, he ran. Did you see his face? No, he had the hood up. But Denise, I think he was one of those boys from the neighborhood, the ones who hang around the corner store. Denise's mind raced. The 5 men who had attacked her on Christmas Eve. Had they found out where she lived? Were they coming back for revenge? Did you call the police? I tried. They said they'd send someone, but nobody came. Of course they didn't. This was the east side of Detroit. The police didn't rush to neighborhoods like this. Denise pulled out her phone and dialed Marcus. He answered on the first ring. What's wrong? Someone came to my apartment. A man in a hoodie. He tried my door. Are you safe? Are the girls safe? We're inside. The door's locked. But Marcus, I think it was one of those men from Christmas Eve. Don't open the door for anyone. I'm on my way. He hung up. 20 minutes later, there was a knock. Denise, it's me. She looked through the peephole. Marcus stood in the hallway, and he wasn't alone. 3 of his brothers flanked him, their faces hard as stone. She opened the door. Marcus stepped inside and immediately checked the windows, the locks, every corner of the apartment. You're moving, he said. What? Tonight. You're packing what you need and you're moving. Martha found you a new apartment last week. It's ready. I wasn't going to tell you until you finished the course, but this changes things. Marcus, I can't just leave. I have things here. The girls' school is nearby. I can't. Denise. He put his hands on her shoulders and looked into her eyes. Those men know where you live. They came to your door. Next time they won't run away. Next time they'll come inside. I am not going to let that happen. But I lost my mother because no one protected her. I am not losing you. The words hung in the air between them. Denise stared at him. His eyes were fierce, desperate, full of something she was afraid to name. Okay, she whispered. Okay, we'll go. 3 hours later, they were gone. The new apartment was in a different neighborhood. Cleaner. Safer. The building had a security door and working lights in the hallway. The apartment itself was small but warm, with 2 bedrooms and a kitchen that didn't have roaches. The twins ran through the rooms, exploring. Mama, I get my own bed. We have a bathtub, a real bathtub. Denise stood in the middle of the living room, overwhelmed. This is too much, she said to Marcus. This is all too much. It's exactly enough. You deserve this, Denise. Your girls deserve this. How am I ever going to pay you back? You pay me back by finishing that course, by getting a good job, by raising those girls to be strong women. That's how you pay me back. Denise walked to him. She reached up and touched his face. "You're not who I thought you were," she said softly. "When I first saw you in that diner, I was terrified. I thought you were a monster." "Maybe I was. Once. What changed? You. You changed me." She rose on her toes and kissed his cheek. "Thank you, Marcus. For everything." He stood very still, like he was afraid to move. "You're welcome," he said quietly. "Now get some sleep. You've got class tomorrow." He walked to the door. "Marcus," he turned. "Will you come back to check on us?" He smiled. That rare, genuine smile that transformed his whole face. "Try to stop me." And then he was gone. Denise locked the door behind him and leaned against it, her heart racing. Something was changing. Between them, inside her. She didn't know what it was yet. She didn't know if she was ready for it. But for the first time in years, she felt like the future might hold something other than survival. It might hold happiness. 6 weeks after Christmas, Denise walked into the Detroit Community Action Center for the last time as a student. Her hands were shaking. Her heart was pounding. Today was graduation day. Today she would find out if the last 6 weeks of sleepless nights and endless studying had been worth it. Martha met her at the door with a smile that stretched across her whole face. "You ready, baby girl?" "I'm terrified." "Good. That means you care." The classroom was full. 15 women who had started the course together, all of them nervous, all of them hoping for the same thing. A chance. A real chance at a better life. The instructor, a stern woman named Dr. Williams, stood at the front of the room with a stack of certificates in her hands. "Ladies, before I announce the results, I want to say something." The room went silent. 6 weeks ago, you walked into this building broken, scared, desperate. Society had written you off. The world had told you that you weren't good enough, smart enough, worthy enough. But you didn't listen. You showed up. Every single night you showed up. And that takes more courage than most people will ever understand. Denise felt tears burning in her eyes. "Today I'm proud to announce that every single one of you passed the certification exam." The room erupted. Women screamed. Women cried. Women hugged each other like sisters. Denise sat frozen in her chair, unable to move. She passed. She actually passed. Martha appeared beside her and pulled her into a tight embrace. "You did it, baby. You did it. I can't believe it. I actually did it. Believe it. This is just the beginning." Dr. Williams called each name one by one. When she reached Denise, she paused. "Denise Williams. Not only did you pass the exam, you scored the highest in the class, 97%. The room gasped. Denise walked to the front, on legs that felt like water. Dr. Williams handed her the certificate and shook her hand. "You have a gift," Dr. Williams said quietly. "Don't waste it." "I won't. I promise." She turned to face the room, holding her certificate, tears streaming down her face. In the back, standing by the door, Marcus watched her with pride burning in his eyes. After the ceremony, Denise found him outside. "You came. I wouldn't miss it." "How long were you standing there? Long enough to hear you got the highest score." Denise laughed and wiped her eyes. "I still can't believe it." "I can. I knew you could do it the moment I met you." How could you possibly know that?" Marcus stepped closer. "Because I saw the way you protected your daughters. The way you stood up to that woman in the diner. The way you kept fighting even when everything was against you. That's not weakness, Denise. That's strength. And strength like that doesn't fail. She looked up at him. This man who had been a stranger 8 weeks ago. This man who had changed her entire life. What happens now? She asked. Now you get a job. Martha already has 3 interviews lined up for you. Good companies, good pay, benefits. When, this week, Denise's head was spinning. Everything was moving so fast. Marcus, I don't know how to thank you for everything. The food, the apartment, the program, all of it. I already told you how to thank me. Live a good life. Raise your girls. Be happy. That's not enough. It's more than enough. It's everything. She reached up and touched his face. He closed his eyes at her touch. Come to dinner, she said. Tonight, at the apartment. Let me cook for you for once. Denise, you don't have to. I want to. Please. He opened his eyes and looked at her. Something passed between them. Something neither of them was ready to name. Okay, he said. I'll be there. That evening, Denise cooked for the first time in months. Real food. Chicken and rice. Green beans. Cornbread from scratch. The kitchen smelled like her grandmother's house, like childhood, like home. The twins helped her set the table bouncing with excitement. Is Mr. Marcus really coming for dinner? Yes, Maya, he's really coming. I like Mr. Marcus. He's nice. He's scary looking, Mia said thoughtfully. But he's not scary inside. Denise smiled. No, baby, he's not scary inside. The knock came at 6 o'clock. Denise opened the door and her breath caught. Marcus stood in the hallway wearing clean jeans and a button-down shirt. No leather vest, no patches, just a man. You look different, she said. Good different or bad different? Good, definitely good. He smiled and held up a paper bag. I brought dessert, pecan pie from the bakery on Woodward. You remembered. I remember everything. Dinner was the happiest hour of Denise's life in years. They ate together, the 4 of them, like a family. Marcus made the twins laugh with stories about his motorcycle. He complimented Denise's cooking until she blushed. He helped clear the table without being asked. After dinner, the girls begged him to read them a bedtime story. Please, Mr. Marcus, please. Marcus looked at Denise uncertainly. Go ahead, she said, if you want to. He followed the twins to their bedroom. Denise stood in the doorway and watched as this massive man, this Hell's Angel, sat on a tiny bed and read "Good Night, Moon" in a voice so gentle it made her heart ache. When the girls fell asleep, Marcus carefully tucked the blankets around them and tiptoed out. You're good with them, Denise said. They're easy to love. They stood in the hallway close enough to touch. Marcus. Yeah, what are we doing? He was quiet for a moment. I don't know. What do you want us to be doing? I don't know either. Everything is happening so fast. 3 months ago I was alone and starving. Now I have a certificate and job interviews and a new apartment, and you and I don't know what to feel anymore. Then don't feel anything. Not yet. Just let things happen. I'm scared. Of what? Of needing you. Of depending on you. The last man I depended on walked out and took everything. Marcus's jaw tightened. I'm not him. I know you're not. But my heart doesn't know that yet. My heart is still waiting for you to disappear. He reached out and took her hand. His palm was rough and warm. I'm not going anywhere, Denise. Not today. Not tomorrow. Not ever. You can't promise that. I can. And I am. He lifted her hand to his lips and kissed her knuckles. Take your time. Figure out what you want. I'll be here when you're ready. He walked to the door. Marcus? He turned. Stay. Please, just for a little while longer. He looked at her. She looked at him. And then he closed the door and stayed. They talked until midnight. About everything. About nothing. About his childhood in foster care after his mother died. About her childhood in Alabama before her family moved north. About his years in the club, the things he'd done, the man he'd become. About her marriage, how it started sweet and ended bitter, how Darren had slowly crushed her spirit until she barely recognized herself. "Do you regret it?" she asked. "The club, the life." "Parts of it, not all of it. The club saved me after my mother died, gave me a family when I had no one, but it also made me hard, cold. I did things I'm not proud of." "Like what?" "Things I don't want you to know about. Things that would make you look at me different." "Try me." Marcus was silent for a long time. "I hurt people, Denise. Bad people mostly. But still. I used these hands for violence. I was good at it. Too good." "Do you still?" "Not anymore. I made a choice a few years ago. After we started the program, I realized I couldn't help people with one hand and hurt them with the other. So I stopped. Just like that. Just like that. Some of my brothers didn't understand. Some still don't. But I don't care. I know who I want to be now." "Who's that?" He looked at her. "Someone worthy of sitting in this apartment with you." 3 days later, Denise had her first job interview. The medical center was on the west side. Clean building. Professional atmosphere. The kind of place she had only ever cleaned, never worked in. She wore her best clothes. A blazer borrowed from Martha. Shoes that didn't have holes. Hair done neat and professional. The interviewer was a white woman named Karen. Mid-40s. Sharp eyes. "So, Denise, tell me about yourself." Denise had practiced this. In the mirror. In the car. In her dreams. "I'm a single mother of twin girls. I completed the medical billing certification course at the Detroit Community Action Center 6 weeks ago. I scored 97% on the exam, the highest in my class." Karen raised an eyebrow. "Impressive. But I see here you don't have any formal work experience in this field." "That's correct. But I'm a fast learner. I'm dedicated. And I'm not afraid of hard work. I've been working 2 jobs for the past 4 months to support my family." "What kind of jobs?" "Cleaning houses, office buildings at night." Karen's expression flickered. Was it respect, pity? Denise couldn't tell. "Why should I hire you over someone with more experience?" Denise took a deep breath. "Because nobody will work harder than me. Nobody will care more than me. I'm not doing this for a paycheck. I'm doing this for my daughters. Every day I show up to work, I'm showing them that their mother didn't give up, that she fought for a better life. You hire me, you get someone who will give you everything she has. Because everything I have, I earned the hard way." Karen stared at her for a long moment. Then she smiled. "When can you start?" Denise's heart stopped. "What?" I said, "When can you start? I'm offering you the job. I can start immediately. Today if you need me." Karen laughed. "Monday will be fine. 8 o'clock. Don't be late." "I won't, I promise. Thank you. Thank you so much." Denise walked out of that building on clouds. She pulled out her phone with shaking hands and dialed Marcus. "I got it. Marcus, I got the job." "I knew you would." "It's real. It's actually real. Monday I start, 8 o'clock, benefits, salary, everything. I'm proud of you, Denise, more than you know. I couldn't have done it without you." "Yes, you could have. I just made it a little easier." She laughed through tears. "Come over tonight. We're celebrating. I'll bring the pie." That weekend, everything changed. Marcus brought more than pie. He brought news. "I need to tell you something," he said as they sat on her couch after the girls had gone to bed. Denise felt her stomach drop. "What is it?" "The men who attacked you on Christmas Eve. We found them." Her blood went cold. "What do you mean you found them? My brothers and I have been looking, asking questions, watching. We found them 3 days ago." "What did you do?" Marcus was quiet. "Marcus, what did you do?" "We had a conversation, made sure they understood that you and the girls are protected, that if they ever come near you again, there will be consequences." "What kind of consequences? The kind that don't need to be spelled out." Denise pulled back. "You hurt them." "I scared them. There's a difference." "Is there?" "Yes. Hurting them would mean they can't walk. Scaring them means they choose not to walk in your direction." Denise stood up and walked to the window. Her hands were trembling. "I thought you said you stopped. The violence. I thought you said you made a choice." "I did. But some situations require a different kind of choice. Those men were going to come back, Denise. Maybe not this week, maybe not this month, but eventually. I couldn't let that happen. So you threatened them. I protected you. By becoming the thing you said you left behind." Marcus stood up. His voice was tight. "What would you have me do? Wait until they break down your door? Wait until they hurt you or the girls I've seen? What men like that do? I've seen bodies, Denise. I've seen what happens when no one steps in. And I've seen what happens when violence becomes the answer to everything. My father was like that. Every problem, his fists solved it, until the problem was him." Marcus froze. "I'm not your father." "I know. But right now, standing there justifying what you did, you sound like him." The silence between them was thick enough to cut. Marcus grabbed his jacket. "I should go." "Marcus, no, you're right. You have a right to feel how you feel. I made a choice. Maybe it was the wrong one, but I'd make it again. Every time. Because keeping you safe matters more to me than keeping my hands clean." He walked to the door. "I love you, Denise." She spun around. "What? I love you. I've loved you since Christmas Eve. Since I saw you lie to your daughters about being hungry. Since I saw your strength and your fear and your grace. I love you, and I will do anything to protect you, even if it means you hate me." He opened the door. "I don't hate you," she whispered. He stopped. "I don't hate you, Marcus. I'm scared. I'm scared because I love you too, and I don't know how to love someone and be afraid of them at the same time." He turned back to face her. "You don't have to be afraid of me, ever. I would never hurt you. I know. But the world you come from, the things you do, that world could hurt me, could hurt my girls. I would die before I let that happen. That's what scares me most, that you might." They stood there across the room from each other, both of them breaking. Denise walked to him slowly. She reached up and put her hands on his chest. "I need time, Marcus, to figure this out. To figure us out." "How much time?" "I don't know. But I need you to give it to me." "Can you do that?" He covered her hands with his. "I can do that. I can do anything for you." He leaned down and kissed her forehead. "Take all the time you need. I'll be waiting." And then he was gone. Denise locked the door and leaned against it, her heart in pieces. She loved him. God help her, she loved him. But love wasn't enough. Not without trust. Not without peace. She had to figure out if she could have both with Marcus Thompson, or if loving him would cost her everything she'd fought so hard to build. 3 weeks passed without Marcus. Denise threw herself into work. She arrived early every morning, stayed late every evening, learned everything she could about medical billing. Her supervisor, Karen, praised her dedication. Her co-workers respected her hustle. Her paychecks came steady and real. But every night when the girls were asleep and the apartment went quiet, she thought about him. She thought about his hands, his voice, The way he looked at her like she was the only person in the world. She thought about his confession. I love you. The words echoed in her head at random moments, while she was filing paperwork, while she was cooking dinner, while she was lying in bed staring at the ceiling. She loved him too. She had admitted it. But love and trust were different animals, and she didn't know if they could live in the same cage. Maya noticed first. Mama, where's Mr. Marcus? He's busy, baby. He hasn't come to see us in forever. He has things to do, important things. More important than us. The question hit Denise like a slap. No, baby, nothing's more important than you. He just needs some space right now. Did you fight? We had a disagreement. Adults do that sometimes. Are you gonna make up? Denise didn't have an answer. Mia was quieter about it, but Denise caught her looking out the window sometimes, watching the street like she was waiting for someone who wasn't coming. The guilt ate at her. She had pushed Marcus away. She had asked for time. He had given it to her. So why did she feel like she was the one being punished? On the 4th week, her phone rang at midnight. She grabbed it from the nightstand, heart pounding. Unknown number. Hello? Denise Williams. The voice was unfamiliar. Male. Cold. Who is this? Someone who knows where you live. Someone who knows about your pretty little girls. Someone who thinks you need to learn a lesson about what happens when you mess with the wrong people. Her blood turned to ice. Who is this? What do you want? We want Marcus Thompson, and since you seem to be his weak spot, we figured we'd start with you. The line went dead. Denise sat in the darkness, her whole body shaking. She tried to breathe, but her lungs wouldn't cooperate. Someone knew where she lived. Someone was threatening her daughters. She dialed Marcus with trembling fingers. He answered on the first ring, like he had been waiting. Denise, someone called me, just now. They threatened me. They threatened the girls. They said they want you. What exactly did they say? She repeated the conversation word for word. Marcus was silent for 3 heartbeats. Pack a bag. Enough for a few days. I'm coming to get you. Marcus, what's happening? Who are these people? I'll explain everything. But right now, I need you to trust me. Can you do that? Trust. The word hung between them. Yes, she whispered. I trust you. Good. 20 minutes. Be ready. He hung up. Denise moved like a woman possessed. She woke the twins, gently told them they were going on an adventure, packed clothes and toothbrushes, and the stuffed animals they couldn't sleep without. Mama, what's wrong? Maya asked, rubbing her eyes. Nothing, baby. We're just going to stay somewhere else for a few days. Why? Because Mama said so. That's why. Exactly 20 minutes later, there was a knock at the door. Denise looked through the peephole. Marcus. Behind him stood Chains and 2 other brothers she recognized from the diner. She opened the door. Marcus took one look at her face and pulled her into his arms. You're safe. I've got you. What's happening, Marcus? Who are those people? Not here. We'll talk in the truck. They moved quickly, down the stairs, into a black SUV with tinted windows. The twins fell back asleep almost immediately, exhausted and confused. Denise sat in the front seat, watching the city lights blur past. Talk to me, she said. Tell me everything. Marcus gripped the steering wheel tight. Remember the men who attacked you on Christmas Eve? Of course. The leader, kid with the gold tooth. His name is Damon Price. His older brother is Jerome Price. Who's Jerome Price? The head of the East Side Disciples, one of the biggest gangs in Detroit. Denise's stomach dropped. What? When I confronted Damon and his boys, I didn't know who his brother was. I found out 2 days ago. Jerome is furious. His little brother got humiliated by a Hell's Angel. Now he wants payback. So this is about pride-ego. It's always about pride with men like Jerome. He can't let an insult stand. It makes him look weak. And now he's coming after me, after my daughters. He's using you to get to me. If he can't hurt me directly, he'll hurt the people I care about. Denise felt rage building in her chest. I didn't ask for any of this. My girls didn't ask for any of this. We were just trying to survive. I know. And I'm sorry. This is my fault. You're damn right it's your fault. The words came out harsh. She didn't take them back. Marcus flinched, but kept his eyes on the road. Where are we going? She asked. Safe house, outside the city. Nobody knows about it except my brothers. And then what? Then I deal with Jerome Price. However, I have to. The safe house was a cabin 40 miles north of Detroit. No neighbors, no streetlights, just trees and silence and darkness. The twins woke up as they pulled into the driveway. Mama, where are we? Somewhere safe, baby. Go back to sleep. Inside the cabin was simple but clean. 2 bedrooms, a kitchen, a fireplace that Chains immediately started building a fire in. Denise put the girls to bed in one of the rooms. They were too tired to ask questions. They fell asleep holding hands. When she came back to the living room, Marcus was standing by the window, staring into the darkness. How long do we have to stay here? Until it's over. What does that mean? It means I'm going to end this, one way or another. Denise walked to him. How are you going to end a gang war? By talking to Jerome, man to man. If I can make a deal, maybe nobody has to get hurt. And if you can't, Marcus didn't answer. Marcus, look at me. He turned. His eyes were heavy with something she had never seen before. Fear. Not for himself. For her. If I can't make a deal, he said slowly, then I do what I've always done. I fight. And I don't stop until the threat is gone. You could die. Yes. And you're okay with that. If it means you and the girls are safe, yes. I'm okay with that. Denise's heart cracked. Don't say that. Don't you dare say that. It's the truth. I don't care if it's the truth. I need you alive, Marcus. My daughters need you alive. You don't get to die for us. You hear me? You don't get to be a hero and leave us behind. Tears were streaming down her face now. She punched his chest with both fists. You stupid, stubborn man. I pushed you away because I was scared of losing you. And now you're telling me you might die. How is that fair? How is any of this fair? Marcus caught her wrists gently. He pulled her close. Life isn't fair, Denise. You know that better than anyone. But I promise you I will do everything in my power to come back to you. Everything. Promise me. I promise. Swear on your mother. His breath caught. I swear on my mother's grave, I will come back to you. She collapsed against his chest, sobbing. He held her tight, stroking her hair, whispering words she couldn't understand but felt in her bones. They stayed like that for a long time. The next morning, Marcus prepared to leave. Chains and 2 other brothers would stay at the cabin to protect Denise and the girls. Marcus would take Wire and Tank to meet with Jerome Price. How long will you be gone? A few hours, maybe more. Depends on how the conversation goes. Call me, as soon as it's over. I will. He knelt down to say goodbye to the twins. They had woken up early, sensing something was wrong. Mr. Marcus, where are you going? I have to take care of something, Maya, but I'll be back soon. You promise? I promise. Mia hugged him tight. Be careful, please. I will, little one. You take care of your mama and sister for me. I will. He stood up and looked at Denise. So much passed between them in that look. Fear, love, hope, desperation. He kissed her, soft and slow and full of everything he couldn't say. Wait for me. Always. And then he was gone. The hours crawled by like years. Denise tried to keep the twins occupied. They played cards. They read books. They watched movies on Chane's phone. But nothing could distract her from the terror coiling in her stomach. Every minute that passed was another minute Marcus was in danger. At noon, her phone rang. She grabbed it so fast she nearly dropped it. "Marcus, it's me." His voice was strained, tired. "What happened? Are you okay?" "The meeting didn't go well. Jerome refused to back down. He says the only way this ends is blood for blood." "What does that mean?" "It means war, Denise. Unless I can find another way." "What other way? I don't know yet, but I'm working on it. Come back. Please come back. Soon. I promise. I just need a little more time." The line went dead. Denise sat frozen, the phone clutched in her hand. War. The word echoed in her mind. Marcus was going to war for her daughters. People could die. He could die. All because she walked into a diner on Christmas Eve with $20. The irony was so cruel it made her want to scream. That night everything changed. Denise was putting the twins to bed when she heard it. A sound that didn't belong. A crunch of gravel outside the cabin. Chanes heard it too. He was on his feet instantly, gun in hand. "Stay here," he whispered. "Don't come out no matter what you hear." "What's happening?" "I don't know, but stay with the girls." He moved toward the front door. The other two brothers took positions by the windows. Denise grabbed her daughters and pulled them to the floor. "Mama, what's going on?" Maya's voice was high with fear. "Shh. It's okay. Just stay down and be quiet." Then she heard the shot. One loud crack that split the night in two. Then more, so many more. Glass shattering, men shouting, bodies hitting the floor. Mia screamed. Denise clamped her hand over her daughter's mouth. "Don't make a sound. Please, baby, don't make a sound." Footsteps in the hallway. Heavy. Getting closer. The bedroom door burst open. A man stood there. Young, hard eyes. Gun in his hand. "Found them," he called over his shoulder. "Get the van ready." Denise put herself between the man and her daughters. "Please, please don't hurt them. They're just children." "Shut up. Jerome wants to see you. All three of you. Get moving. No, I won't let you take them." The man raised his gun and pointed it at Maya. "I said get moving, or the little one dies first." Denise's whole world collapsed into that single moment. Her daughter's life hanging in the balance, a gun pointed at her baby's head. She had no choice. Okay, we're coming. Just don't hurt them." They were dragged out of the cabin. Denise saw Chanes lying on the floor, blood pooling around him. His eyes were open, but unfocused. "Chanes? He's alive," one of the men said. "Barely. Move." They were thrown into a black van. The doors slammed shut. Darkness swallowed them. The twins cried silently, clinging to their mother. Denise held them tight and prayed. "Marcus, please, find us. Please." The van drove for what felt like hours. When it finally stopped, they were pulled out into a warehouse, abandoned, industrial, the kind of place where bad things happened. Jerome Price was waiting. He was older than his brother Damon. Bigger. His eyes were dead in a way that made Denise's skin crawl. "So you're the woman my brother got his ass kicked over?" Denise said nothing. "Not bad looking. I see why Marcus likes you." "What do you want?" "What do I want?" Jerome laughed. "I want Marcus Thompson on his knees. I want him to beg for your life. And then I want him to watch while I take everything he cares about. He'll kill you. He can try. But see, I've got leverage now. He touches me, you die. Your pretty little girls die. He knows that. That's why he's going to do exactly what I say. You're a monster. I'm a businessman. Marcus humiliated my brother. In my world, that can't stand. Someone has to pay. Unfortunately for you, that someone is you. He turned to his men. Put them in the back room. Make sure they're comfortable. We're going to be here a while. They were dragged into a small room. Concrete floor. No windows. One metal door. The girls were hysterical now. Mama, I'm scared. I want to go home. I know, baby. I know. Mama's going to figure this out. But she didn't know how. She didn't know if Marcus even knew where they were. She didn't know if anyone was coming. She was trapped in a nightmare with no escape. Hours passed. The girls eventually cried themselves to sleep in her arms. Denise stayed awake, listening, waiting, praying. Then she heard it. Motorcycles. Lots of them. Getting closer. Shouting outside the room. Running footsteps. Jerome's voice angry and urgent. They found us. How the hell did they find us? Gunshots. So many gunshots. Denise covered her daughter's ears and pressed them against her chest. Please, God. Please. The door exploded inward. Marcus stood there, blood on his face, fire in his eyes. Denise. Marcus. He crossed the room in 3 steps and pulled her into his arms. Are you hurt? Are the girls hurt? No, we're okay. We're okay. We have to go. Now. He picked up both twins like they weighed nothing. Denise followed him through the warehouse, stepping over bodies she tried not to look at. Outside, Hell's Angels everywhere. Jerome's men were down, scattered across the ground. And in the center of it all, Jerome Price on his knees, hands behind his head, surrounded by bikers. Marcus stopped in front of him. This is over, Marcus said. You come near them again, you so much as look in their direction, and I will burn everything you love to the ground. We clear. Jerome glared at him with pure hatred. This isn't finished, Thompson. Yes, it is. Marcus turned his back and walked away. He put Denise and the twins in a truck, climbed in beside them. Take us home, he said to the driver. As they drove away, Denise looked at Marcus. His hands were shaking. His jaw was clenched so tight she thought it might break. You found us. I'll always find you. How? Chains. He regained consciousness long enough to tell us which direction the van went. We tracked them from there. Is Chains okay? He's in surgery. They think he'll make it. Denise leaned her head against Marcus's shoulder. I was so scared. So was I. More scared than I've ever been in my life. Is it really over? Marcus was quiet for a moment. Yes. Jerome knows if he comes after you again, he loses everything. His men, his territory, his life. He's a businessman, like he said. He'll cut his losses. And what about you? What happens to you? What do you mean? You just started a war. You invaded his territory. Took down his men, there will be consequences. Probably. But I'll deal with them. We'll deal with them. Together. Marcus looked at her. Together. I'm done running Marcus. I'm done being scared. I love you. And I'm choosing you, all of you. The good and the bad and the dangerous. I'm choosing us. For the first time that night, Marcus smiled. You mean that every word... He kissed her, deep and desperate and full of relief. The twins stirred in their sleep. Mama, Maya mumbled. Are we safe now? Denise pulled her daughter close. Yes, baby. We're safe. We're finally safe. And for the first time since Christmas Eve, she actually believed it. 6 months had passed since that night in the warehouse. Denise stood in the bathroom of her new house, staring at her reflection in the mirror. She barely recognized herself. The hollow cheeks had filled out. The dark circles under her eyes had faded. The woman staring back at her looked healthy, strong, alive. "Mama! Mama, we're gonna be late." Maya's voice echoed through the hallway. "Coming, baby." She took one last look at herself and smiled. Today was the day. The day everything became official. The day her new life truly began. Downstairs, Marcus was waiting by the door. He looked different, too. Still massive, still covered in tattoos. But there was a lightness about him now, a peace that hadn't been there before. "You ready?" he asked. "I've been ready for 6 months," he grinned. "Then let's go get married." The courthouse was small, but beautiful. Denise had wanted something simple. No big ceremony, no expensive dress, just her Marcus, the twins, and the people who mattered most. Martha was there, dabbing her eyes with a tissue before the ceremony even started. Chains stood beside Marcus as his best man, a cane in his hand, but strength in his eyes. He had survived the shooting. Barely. But he was alive, and that was all that mattered. The twins wore matching white dresses that Denise had saved 3 months to buy. They carried small bouquets of flowers and couldn't stop giggling. "Mama, you look like a princess," Mia whispered. "You're the princess's baby. I'm just the queen." The judge cleared his throat. "We are gathered here today to witness the union of Marcus Jerome Thompson and Denise Marie Williams." Denise's heart pounded. This was real. This was actually happening. "Marcus, do you take Denise to be your lawfully wedded wife, to have and to hold from this day forward for better or for worse, for richer or for poorer, in sickness and in health, until death do you part?" Marcus looked at her with eyes full of everything he had never been able to say. "I do." "And Denise, do you take Marcus to be your lawfully wedded husband, to have and to hold from this day forward, for better or for worse, for richer or for poorer, in sickness and in health, until death do you part?" Denise thought about the journey that had brought her here. The hunger, the fear, the $20 that was supposed to buy her daughter's Christmas dinner. The man who walked into that diner and changed everything. "I do. By the power vested in me by the state of Michigan, I now pronounce you husband and wife. You may kiss the bride." Marcus pulled her close and kissed her like the world was ending and beginning all at once. The twins cheered. Martha sobbed. Chains whistled so loud it echoed through the courthouse. "I love you, Mrs. Thompson," Marcus whispered against her lips. "I love you too, Mr. Thompson." They walked out of the courthouse hand in hand into a future neither of them had dared to imagine. 1 year after Christmas Eve. The Detroit Community Action Center was packed. Denise stood backstage, her hands trembling as she reviewed her notes for the 100th time. In a few minutes, she would walk out onto that stage and speak to 200 people about her journey from poverty to hope. Nervous. She turned. Marcus was behind her holding 2 cups of coffee. Terrified. "You'll be amazing. You always are." "What if I forget what to say?" "Then you speak from your heart. That's what people want to hear anyway." She took the coffee and sipped it gratefully. "I still can't believe they asked me to do this." "Why not?" "You're exactly the kind of person who should be telling this story. Someone who lived it, someone who survived it." "I didn't survive it alone." "No, but you took the first step. You walked into that diner with $20 and 2 hungry kids. You made the choice to keep fighting. That's what people need to hear. Martha appeared in the doorway. They're ready for you, baby. Denise took a deep breath. Here goes nothing. She walked onto the stage. The lights were blinding. The crowd was a blur of faces. But somewhere in the front row she could see Marcus. The twins sitting on either side of him wearing their Sunday best, their faces shining with pride. She stepped up to the microphone. 1 year ago tonight, I walked into a diner on the east side of Detroit. I had $20 in my pocket, 2 hungry children holding my hands, and absolutely no hope. The room was silent. I was going to order 1 bowl of soup and 1 basket of bread for my daughters to share. I was going to tell them I wasn't hungry, even though I hadn't eaten in 3 days. I was going to lie to my babies because I couldn't afford the truth. Her voice cracked. She pushed through. That night a stranger saved my life. He didn't know me. He didn't owe me anything. But he saw a mother struggling, and he chose to help. He bought us dinner. He protected us from danger. He connected me with this program, with Martha, with all of you. She looked at Marcus. That stranger became my husband, and those $20 I never had to spend, I still have them, framed on my wall, a reminder of how close I came to losing everything. She pulled the framed bill from behind the podium and held it up. This is what hope looks like. This is what kindness looks like. This is what happens when one person decides to see another person's struggle and do something about it. The crowd was crying. Martha was crying. Even Marcus was wiping his eyes. I stand before you today not as a victim, but as a survivor. I have a job, a home, a family. I have everything I never thought I'd have again. And it started with 1 man, 1 moment, 1 act of grace. She set the frame down and gripped the podium. If you're watching this and you're struggling, hear me. Don't give up. Help exists. People who care exist. You are not invisible. You are not worthless. You are worthy of love. You are worthy of hope. And somewhere out there your angel is waiting. Maybe they're wearing a leather vest. Maybe they're riding a motorcycle. Maybe they look like the last person who would ever help you. She smiled through her tears. But they're there, trust me. They're there. The applause was deafening. People stood. People cheered. People cried openly, without shame. Denise stepped away from the podium and walked into Marcus's arms. I'm so proud of you, he whispered. I couldn't have done any of this without you. Yes, you could. You're the strongest person I've ever known. Maya tugged at her dress. Mama, you made everyone cry. Good tears, baby. Happy tears. I'm proud of you too, Mama. Denise knelt down and pulled both daughters into a hug. I'm proud of us. All of us. We made it. We actually made it. 2 years after Christmas Eve. The new community center opened on Jefferson Street, 3 blocks from the diner where everything began. Denise cut the ribbon while cameras flashed and reporters shouted questions. Mrs. Thompson, how does it feel to open a center named after your program? It feels like a dream I never knew I was allowed to have. The building was beautiful, bright and clean and full of possibility. Classrooms for job training, a child care center for working mothers, a food pantry that would never turn anyone away. Above the entrance, a sign read, "The See Me Center," because everyone deserves to be seen. Martha stood beside her older now, but just as fierce. You did this, baby girl. You made this happen. We did this, all of us together. Marcus appeared with a little boy balanced on his hip. Denise's heart swelled. Marcus Jr., 6 months old, born on a Tuesday morning with his father's eyes and his mother's stubborn chin. Someone wanted to see his mama cut the ribbon, Marcus said. Denise took her son and kissed his chubby cheek. Did you see baby mama built this for people like us? So no one ever has to feel invisible again. The twins ran over 12 years old now, taller and stronger and more beautiful every day. Mama, can we go inside? I want to see the classrooms. Me too. I want to see the kitchen. Go ahead, babies. Just stay together. They ran off laughing, their joy echoing through the crowd. Denise looked around at everything she had built. The center, the programs, the lives that would be changed. 3 years ago, she couldn't feed her children. Now she was feeding hundreds of families. 3 years ago, she was invisible. Now she was a beacon. What are you thinking about? Marcus's voice pulled her back. I'm thinking about the diner, about that night, about how scared I was. And now I'm grateful. For all of it. Even the pain. Because it led me here. To you. To this. Marcus wrapped his arm around her. My mama would have loved you. I think about her sometimes. Gloria. I wish I could have met her. She's here. In everything we do. Every family we help, she's there. Denise leaned into him. We're going to help so many people, Marcus. So many mothers who are where I was. So many families who think they're alone. That's the point. That's why we built this. Do you ever regret it? Leaving the club. The life, Marcus was quiet for a moment. I didn't leave the life. I changed it. The club still rides. But now we ride for something. Protection for the vulnerable. Resources for the desperate. Hope for the hopeless. The Hells Angels doing charity work. Who would have thought, people change. I'm living proof. That evening, after the crowds had gone and the cameras had packed up, Denise found herself standing alone in the center's main hall. The twins were at home with their grandmother, a woman from the program who had become family. Marcus was putting the baby to bed. For a few precious minutes, she had silence. She walked to the wall where they had hung photographs. Families who had graduated from the program. Success stories. Proof that change was possible. And in the center, one photograph stood out. It was from Christmas Eve 3 years ago. Someone at the diner had taken it without Denise knowing. It showed her sitting in the booth with her daughters, tears on her face, while Marcus knelt beside them. The moment that changed everything. Mrs. Thompson. She turned. A young woman stood in the doorway, early 20s, thin, exhausted, holding a baby wrapped in a blanket that had seen better days. I'm sorry, I know you're closed, but someone told me you could help. I don't have anywhere else to go. Denise looked at this woman and saw herself, saw the fear, the desperation, the fragile hope that was barely holding on. What's your name? Aaliyah. And this is my daughter Destiny. She's 4 months old. When's the last time you ate Aaliyah? The young woman's eyes filled with tears. 2 days ago, but I've been making sure Destiny has formula. She's fed. Her voice broke. Denise crossed the room and took her hand. Listen to me. You're safe now. You're not alone anymore. Whatever you need, we're going to figure it out together. I don't have any money. I can't pay you. We don't charge for help. That's not what this place is about. Then why would you help me? You don't even know me. Denise smiled. Because 3 years ago, I was exactly where you are now. I had nothing, no money, no hope, just 2 hungry children and a prayer that someone would see me. And someone did. Someone did. A stranger who became my husband. He taught me that kindness isn't about what you get back. It's about what you pass forward. She guided Aaliyah to a chair and went to the kitchen to heat up food. When she returned, the young woman was crying. Quiet tears of relief. "I thought no one cared. I thought I was invisible." Denise set the plate down and sat beside her. "You're not invisible, Aaliyah. Not here, not ever. We see you, and we're going to help you build a life worth living. How can you be so sure? Because I did it. Because Martha did it. Because hundreds of women before you did it. You're not the first, and you won't be the last. But right now you're here. And that's all that matters." Aaliyah ate. Slowly at first, then faster, as her hunger took over. Denise watched her and thought about the circle of grace. How kindness rippled outward. How one act could change a life, and that life could change another. Marcus had saved her. She had built this center. And now this center would save Aaliyah. And someday Aaliyah would save someone else. That was the point. That was the legacy. When Marcus arrived an hour later, he found Denise in the kitchen, making a bed on the couch for Aaliyah and her baby. Another one. Another one. You know you can't save everyone, right? Maybe not everyone. But I can save her. Tonight I can save her. And tomorrow we'll figure out the rest. Marcus kissed her forehead. "You're incredible, you know that. I learned from the best." They stood together in the darkness, watching Aaliyah sleep with her baby in her arms. "This is what it's all about," Denise whispered. "This is why everything happened the way it did. The pain, the struggle, the fear, it all led here, to this moment, to helping people who have no one else. Do you ever wonder what would have happened if I hadn't walked into that diner? Every day. And every day I thank God that you did." "Me too." They went home that night to their house full of children and love and noise. The twins were arguing about a video game. The baby was crying for his bottle. The dog Marcus had brought home 6 months ago was barking at something in the backyard. It was chaos. Beautiful, wonderful chaos. Denise stood in the kitchen making dinner and listened to the sounds of her life. 3 years ago, she had nothing. Now she had everything. A husband who loved her fiercely. Children who made her laugh every day. A purpose that gave meaning to her pain. A community that lifted others the way she had been lifted. She thought about that Christmas Eve. The diner. The $20. The moment she almost gave up hope. She thought about Marcus walking through that door, his leather vest, his tattoos, his terrifying appearance that hid the gentlest heart she had ever known. She thought about his mother Gloria, who had died hungry so her son could eat. She thought about her own mother who had taught her to survive. She thought about every mother everywhere who was struggling right now, wondering if anyone saw them, wondering if anyone cared. "Mama, dinner's burning." Maya's voice snapped her back. "No, it's not. I've got it under control." "You were spacing out again." "I was thinking." "About what?" Denise turned off the stove and looked at her daughter. "About how lucky we are. About how different things could have been." "Is this about the diner again?" "It's always about the diner, baby. That's where everything started." Marcus appeared in the kitchen doorway, the baby in his arms. "Everything okay in here?" "Everything's perfect." She took the baby and kissed his nose. She hugged Maya, who pretended to be embarrassed, but hugged her back anyway. She called Mia down from her room and wrapped her arms around her too. "Group hug," Maya shouted. Marcus joined them, his massive arms encircling them all. "What's this about?" Mia asked. "Nothing. Everything. I just love you all so much." We love you too, Mama. They stood there in the kitchen, a family that had been built from pain and hope and grace. Outside, the world kept spinning. People kept struggling. Mothers kept going hungry so their children could eat. But in this house on this night, there was love. There was safety. There was enough. And somewhere across the city, in a community center named for the seeing of invisible people, a young woman named Aaliyah was waking up to her first morning of hope. The cycle continued, the grace rippled outward, and it all started with $20 and a man who refused to look away. That is the power of kindness. That is the miracle of being seen. That is the story of Denise Williams Thompson, a poor black mother who walked into a diner on Christmas Eve with nothing but hunger and prayer, and walked out with everything.